All right. So, are you ready to dive into the world of Donald Trump?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Let's try to figure out how a businessman...
With no political experience,
Right.
became the 45th president of the United States.
Exactly. Our guide for this is
Okay.
going to be pasted text.
Oh, okay.
This biography covers everything from his childhood all the way to the White House.
Wow.
So,
His story is really interesting because it shows how American business and media and politics have changed.
over the last few decades.
Exactly.
And it all starts in Queens,
New York,
Yeah.
where Trump was born.
1946.
Wow, okay.
And we know he came from money.
Oh, yeah. His father was a successful real estate developer.
But I thought it was interesting
Okay.
that even though he had this super privileged upbringing,
Uh-huh.
his dad sent him to New York Military Academy.
What do you think that was about?
Well, pasted text suggests that
Okay.
Fred Trump,
Donald's father.
thought that structure and discipline were really important.
Like he was getting him ready for something big.
Yeah, like the cutthroat world of New York real estate.
It's like a battleground.
So we have this kid, right? He's already learning about the family business.
Rulemaking,
Yeah.
but also discipline and competition.
It's like a foundation for The Apprentice.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right.
So that competitive drive,
Yeah.
that need to win,
Uh-huh.
that's like a recurring theme.
Throughout his whole life,
And even going to Wharton
which is known for being super hard.
shows how ambitious he was.
Okay, so we've got the upbringing.
Wealth, real estate, focus on competition.
He could have just joined the family business and taken it easy,
Coasted. Yeah.
but he wanted Manhattan.
What do you think it was about Manhattan?
Well, in the 70s,
Okay.
it was kind of a mess.
Gritty.
Yeah.
On the verge of bankruptcy.
But you could also get really rich there.
Yeah, it was perfect for someone like Trump.
Who's ambitious and likes to take risks.
Totally.
And his first big project is the Grand Hyatt.
Wow, taking this rundown hotel
Yeah.
and making it super luxurious.
That must have taken a lot of guts.
It was a bold move,
Yeah.
but pasted text says it wasn't just about fixing up a building.
It was about the Trump brand.
Yeah.
He wanted to be known for luxury success.
Opulence.
And that brand becomes like this obsession.
Okay.
Trump Tower,
Mm-hmm.
this monument to his ego,
Mm-hmm. Pasted text describes it as like,
this gleaming symbol
Yeah.
of making it in Manhattan.
was it just ego though?
Right.
Or was he being strategic?
I think it was both.
Trump really understood image and being famous.
Yeah. Long before it became a big thing.
He knew his name could be valuable,
Yeah.
and he used it.
But it wasn't all easy.
Oh, yeah. What about those bankruptcies in the 90s?
Pasted text talks about how those really tested him.
Yeah, they were definitely a turning point.
They made him rethink his strategy.
And adapt.
But they also show something interesting.
What's that?
He wasn't afraid of failing.
He actually used it to come back stronger.
It's like those setbacks made him want to prove himself even more. And that leads us to the expansion of the Trump brand.
Beyond real estate.
Stakes board games. Even a university.
Was that all planned, or was he just taking advantage of every opportunity?
Pasted text suggests that he just understood how media works
Mm-hmm.
and how it shapes how people see things.
So he was always trying to stay in the spotlight.
It wasn't just about money,
He wanted to be
a
everywhere.
household name.
Exactly.
And this is where things get interesting,
Okay.
because he ends up on reality TV.
The Apprentice.
Yeah, I never thought about how that show...
Could lead to politics.
Does pasted text talk about how The Apprentice changed his image?
Oh, yeah. The book says that the show let him create a persona,
Okay.
this decisive businessman.
The boss.
And that image really appealed to people who didn't trust politicians.
So you're saying a reality TV show,
Yeah.
which seemed like just entertainment.
Could have helped his political career.
That's a really interesting thought.
He used The Apprentice to make a story about himself.
As a great businessman and leader.
Exactly.
So we have the wealthy upbringing,
The real estate,
the branding,
the reality TV.
and then politics.
His political views weren't always clear, though.
Yeah, pasted text says that he donated to both Democrats and Republicans.
He wasn't always a Republican.
Yeah, he didn't fully embrace the Republican Party until later.
Like he was trying to figure out where he fit in.
And then the 2016 election happens.
That changed everything.
It really did.
That's when everything came together.
The wealth,
Yeah.
the
The
ambition,
media savvy,
the persona,
all of it.
and it led to this.
Improbable.
And for many, shocking victory. Pasted text points out that his 2016 campaign was fueled by this undercurrent of frustration.
Like people felt forgotten.
Yes, among a certain segment of the population.
Those who felt left behind by the economy.
Yes, people who felt like the American dream was gone.
And Trump really tapped into that.
With his Make America Great Again slogan.
It was so simple.
But powerful.
And it resonated with a lot of people. People who wanted things to go back to how they were.
To a better time.
Yeah, when they felt more secure.
It wasn't just the slogan, though.
What else was it?
Well, pasted text describes these rallies as these huge events.
Where people felt like he was actually listening to them.
It was like he was speaking directly to their problems.
Those rallies were wild.
They were definitely a spectacle.
But they also show how Trump could connect with people emotionally.
On a deeper level.
He didn't need the media to get his message out.
He used social media to talk to voters directly.
And in ways that were pretty different.
Unconventional.
Even inflammatory.
His rhetoric was so different from other candidates.
Yeah, it was blunt.
Often offensive.
But also kind of compelling.
It was so different.
He was willing to break the rules.
Say things that other politicians wouldn't. It was refreshing for some.
But unsettling for others.
But it definitely helped him win.
Oh, so against all odds,
he becomes president.
This businessman.
With no experience in politics.
Sitting in the Oval Office.
What were some of the biggest changes that happened during his presidency?
One of the first things he did was trade. He wanted to change things up.
Renegotiating NAFTA.
Yeah, withdrawing from the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
And those tariffs on China.
All part of his America First agenda.
They protect American jobs.
Exactly.
And that protectionist approach applied to immigration as well.
The travel ban.
The border wall.
Those were pretty controversial.
Pasted text says that these policies were a direct response to how his base was feeling.
They were anxious about all the changes.
From globalization.
Yeah, they saw these measures as protecting America.
But they also caused a lot of opposition.
From Democrats and human rights groups.
Which made the political divide even worse.
It wasn't just immigration, though.
What else?
His policies on healthcare.
Climate change.
Social issues.
They were all so divisive.
It's like a constant battle.
Between two very different visions for America.
It was a wild time.
And pasted text doesn't avoid the controversies.
The Russia investigation.
The impeachments.
They really overshadowed his whole presidency.
Those controversies were a constant problem.
And they made things feel really chaotic.
But even his critics say he got some things done.
Like what?
He appointed conservative judges to the Supreme Court.
He passed tax cuts.
Rolled back regulations.
So it was a mix of good and bad.
Constant controversy and a divided nation.
That sums it up pretty well.
Then came the 2020 election.
And his refusal to concede?
That was a big moment.
His claims of election fraud.
The lawsuits.
The January 6th riot.
It made everyone question American democracy.
And the peaceful transfer of power.
It was a really dark time.
And even though he's not president anymore,
he still has a lot of influence.
He's still a major figure in the Republican Party.
And he's hinted at running again in 2024.
Hard to imagine American politics without him.
He really changed things.
So where do we go from here?
We've talked about his childhood,
his business career,
his time on reality TV,
his presidency,
and his lasting impact. What's the most important thing you've learned from this biography?
The most interesting thing for me is how Trump was able to connect with people.
Okay.
Even though he was rich and privileged,
yeah,
he understood how people were feeling.
He ignored.
And marginalized by politicians.
He gave them a voice.
And that changed the political landscape.
In ways we're still dealing with today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he revealed these cracks in American society that were always there.
But people weren't really paying attention to them.
And he used them to his advantage.
Exactly. He understood that people were angry.
And wanted easy answers to hard problems.
And he wasn't afraid to use that.
To use people's fears.
And prejudices.
Which takes us back to the beginning.
How did he become president?
With no political experience.
That's a good question.
I think pasted text gives us some clues.
What are those?
Well, the book says it was a combination of things.
Like what?
Economic anxiety.
People worried about money.
Yeah, a backlash against globalization.
People feeling like the world was changing too fast.
The rise of social media.
Where everyone has a voice.
And then Trump himself.
This larger-than-life character.
A master at getting attention.
And getting people to do what he wanted.
It's kind of a warning sign.
About how fragile things are.
It shows how easily our system can be manipulated.
By someone who knows how to play the game.
Yeah, it's a reminder that we need to be careful.
To protect our democracy.
So what happens next?
Who knows?
Pasted text doesn't make any predictions.
But it does say that Trump's influence isn't going away.
I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, whether he runs again or not.
He's changed the game.
His impact will be felt for a long time.
So as we finish up this deep dive,
Okay.
what was the most interesting thing for you about Trump's story?
What surprised you?
Or made you see him in a new light?
I think what struck me the most
Yeah,
was that his rise to power wasn't some random fluke.
it wasn't an accident.
It was the result of years of careful planning,
Billions ran
using the media.
and understanding what people wanted.
He knew how to read the mood of the country.
It's like every part of his life.
The good, the bad, the controversies.
All led to this moment in American history.
And the impact of that moment is still being felt.
That's what's so powerful about doing a deep dive like this.
It helps you connect the dots.
And do the bigger picture.
And it reminds us that even the craziest events
Usually have a long history.
with consequences that we might not even realize.
So as you go about your day,
Okay.
think about Donald Trump
His impact on America.
and what his story tells us about ourselves.
Understanding him is key to understanding the world today.
And who knows?
What?
Maybe you'll be the one to write the next chapter.
In this wild story.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.